You're a machine.
It is a machine, and we are the machine. We are the Chris and Mike Show. Welcome, boys and girls. We're back from a minute.
Yes,
we had a minute recording. It was awesome, and then we shut it down because we were like, you know what? It was a
rehearsal.
Yeah, we just said it was too good. Like you can't have perfection like that. This is you're too young in the production to have perfection. So,
Want to make sure we weren't nervous. You know,
yeah,
just
get
practice
get the nerves out of the way. And now I'm
Shake it off.
I'm diligently watching the uploading. It's kicking back up. It's in the 70s now, which is weird.
There you go. I think your computer just had a glitch.
It's possible. It's possible. So this is the Chris and Mike Show. As I said, he's Mike. I'm Chris. We have no scheduled agenda today. We're just going to talk about whatever comes to mind. No guest. It's a guest-free episode, which is kind of nice because I was thinking about it the other day. Like I like just
you're stuck with us.
I like when you and I just talk, though. You know, I like having.
We need
guests.
some of those.
I like having guests for sure. So I was thinking maybe
I do too.
I was thinking maybe we make Tuesdays just the Chris and Mike Show, and then we leave Fridays open for interpretation with special guests and dialogue. Outer limits and shit like that.
If we ever become the most sought after podcast in America, where people are vying to get on the show,
right?
I'll make you that rule, but I don't think we're there yet. So just take whatever guest you can get. I agree with you though. I was excited driving home today, thinking, man, I get to talk to my brother.
Yeah, and then I signed on early. Like, oh, there he is.
Yeah,
Mike's on.
So, talking about being on the same wavelength, we were having the same thoughts at the same time. I just started thinking about that yesterday. I kind of got excited. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just us tomorrow.
Yeah, which is cool. It is cool. We did have some nice feedback from your buddy Kyle, which was nice. And then I shared that with one of our other guests, and he kind of said the same thing. So that was cool. That I'll tell you what Nate said. Let's see if I can pull it up on the.
And definitely invite Nate back on because the little bit that I got to interact with him, I really enjoyed talking to him, and I've gotten a lot of super positive feedback on his episode. So if he's listening, Nate, everybody really enjoyed your episode. They got a lot out of it. I've actually heard people say they've went back and listened to it again to get, the actual information written down or whatever. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. He says, Chris, on the show, you're a great podcast host, good at pacing, interesting questions. I was like, oh, thanks, Nate.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which I just kind of,
From a listener, I would agree with him.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated, you both had such an upbeat persona that it just bled through,
Oh, right on. That's just, it's obviously from the radio days with iHeart, because I had to learn that shit to be able to carry a show for a year on iHeart is not an easy task. So that, I gave all the credit to that.
Nor is fronting a hard rock band.
Well, this is true. But fronting a rock band is different than being on the radio as a host, because being on stage, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can do whatever the fuck I want on stage. Like, there's no rules, except whipping out my ding-a-ling. Other than that.
That's why I thought you would enjoy this, because I would prefer that you didn't whip out your ding-a-ling either. So we're going to make that a rule.
Yeah, Jim Morrison already did that, and he didn't really do it. He just stuck his thumb through the zipper hole. And then the Chili Peppers tried to, push that envelope of wearing socks on stage.
I was at that show in Phoenix. When they
no shit. Right on.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. It was cool.
That is cool. So here's a fun little thing. So my Gilbert red light ticket, right? We talked about this a few episodes ago.
Oh, you got an update?
I do. So
Sweet.
I went. So I had filed to extend it, and the judge said, "Fuck off." Like you're not entitled to extend it, so I had to go to court. So I went to court, and it was just me and the officer and the judge and the chick that types everything, the statistician. Is that what she's called? No,
she's a
stenographer.
Stenographer.
There you go.
Mama Kay was screaming it. It's a stenographer.
So
court reporter.
The judge kind of explains how it's going to work. He gets to go first, present what evidence he has, and I get my turn, and then I'm allowed to cross-examine him. There's no yelling, be respectful, all the normal stuff you think, right? So, officer states his name, blah, blah, blah. And it says what I have, and judge asks him, what evidence do you bring to the table? And he's like, motherfucker, oh, I have the dash cam and the body cam video. And I'm like,
oh.
I'm like, really? Like I leaned into
I knew that was going to happen.
Right? And I leaned into my microphone. I'm like, wait a minute, Judge, not to interrupt. I was like, but you denied my motion because I don't have that footage yet. Yet I had to pay for the footage, and your courts are 14 to 16 months backlogged for a 23-minute video that they've already found, because in order for me to pay for it, they had to know the length of the video itself. So I paid basically $1 a minute, right? Yet the officer gets
right.
So the judge says, well, you have the chance to review it now. And I looked at him I'm like, to be honest with you, I said, I wanted to view the footage before I came here today, because if I did it, I did it. I'm not going to dispute it, but I don't think I did it because I don't believe, I ran the red light. I just don't. I said it's out of my nature, whatever I said. So the judge says, well, here's what you can do, Mr. Dunham. I can recuse myself to the chambers. You have the opportunity to watch the footage with the officer, with me not in the room. So I'm not being, I'm not making judgment or whatever he said. I'm like, that's fine. So him and the cop figure out how he's going to put the footage on the big screen TV, which is interesting. I took a picture of that, of the cop in front of the big screen TV. The big screen TV blued out. They have some kind of filter on that screen where you can't see it. And the footage was there. So I ran the fucking thing. I mean, that motherfucker was blood red, dripping. Just the blood was dripping from it. It was so fucking red. It was insane, which I honestly, I didn't know. I didn't think I did it, right? I mean, I honestly didn't think I did it. The catch was my front tires were in the intersection. My back tires were still on the other side of the crosswalk. So if you can envision the crosswalk, how it has 2 bold lines and the third line.
I got you.
So my tires above that third line, but everything else was behind that, which is running red light. I'm like, oh, and so I looked at the cop. I'm like, and here's another trippy thing. The vehicle camera, it wraps the fucking, not the dashboard, but the, what the fuck is it? The front bumper. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The grill.
Yes, thank you.
It wrapped the grill to where it had a complete vision from. He's sitting in the left lane, the left turning lane, going south. That fucking camera footage picks up everything from the far right to the far left, like you wouldn't believe. It was a total like half moon video.
No shit,
dude. And then it, so obviously he's picking up the fucking lights, everything from all the lights and shit. And
so he's picking up a super
everything.
Definitely all 4 points of that intersection.
Oh,
right?
absolutely, except for the one he's in. But for the most part, you got all 3 vantage point, right? So
everything in front of you, of course.
So I did it. So I'm like, okay, we're good. So I tell the court reporter, I'm like, you can have the judge come back in now. So he comes back in, sits down. He's like, where are we at? I was like, I ran the red light, man. He's like, that's it? I was like, that's it. I said, look at the footage. I was like, this is why I wanted the footage prior to. I honestly didn't believe I ran the red light. I thought I was through the light before the light turned red. I didn't see the officer react right away, but he obviously did. He made some statement that, we're having all these kind of accidents at this intersection. I said, I Googled the intersection. There was one accident I found in the year so far. Nothing else. And I just, I just kind of felt like I was baited. No offense to the cop, but that's their job, is to do shit like this. I didn't say shit, obviously.
So had they been on top of their game and found the footage in a reasonable amount of time, like they should have, and emailed it to you, you would have just paid the ticket and they would have already had their money by now. That's the moral of the story.
Well, so here's the fucked up thing, buddy.
Oh, geez.
I'm leaving the courtroom. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, let me back up a little bit. So when I was exchanging with the judge after the footage was released, I was like, I said, I can't plead guilty or not guilty because something I can't see. He's like, wait. This is not a court of, this is not criminal. This is responsible or not responsible. I said, what's the difference? He's like, you're responsible for the act of the civil traffic violation, or you're not responsible. I said, so it's guilt and innocence. I'm like, I should be innocent before proven guilty. And he's like, no. He kept saying, no, it's responsible or not responsible. So what I get in the mail? What I get in the mail?
Okay.
Guess what this fucking document says?
Responsible or not responsible? I've never heard of that, but
effective June 10th, your driving privileges will be withdrawn. This action is being taken under the Arizona Revised Statute, blah, blah, blah. And in addition to other
criminal.
actions. No. Right? I'm a criminal.
You're a criminal.
Right. So I have to attend driver's school before June 10th. I do not have a right to a hearing in this matter. It is against the law to operate a vehicle, on June 10th and thereafter. My compliance requirement is to take and complete traffic school. Okay, so I was like, okay, so I get this other document in the mail.
Sorry, Mama K, I'm still hanging out with the bad guys.
And I'm shaking.
I can't get away from them.
Where the fuck is it, man? What I'm looking for is it said I was guilty. It didn't say I was responsible. It said I was. Oh yeah, right there.
Flat out said guilty.
Our records indicate you were convicted under Arizona state statute. Convicted. Now he purposely made a point several times in our conversation. The judge, it's responsible or not responsible. A conviction is guilty or not guilty. I wasn't found guilty. I was found responsible.
That thing says convicted.
So I kind of call bullshit. I had the right to appeal it up to 14 days, and then I get these fucking letters like within 2 days. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's all now and I even told him at the initial hearing, it's a different judge. I said at the initial hearing, if that judge would have laid it out, because I told that judge what I was doing, right? My initial hearing. He's like, right. What do you want to do? I said, I applied for the video footage. I want to see whether or not I actually ran the red light. So before I stand in front of the judge, I want to know if I did or not. I said, because if I did,
that was the guy that told the young kid that if he tried to pursue the cop visually watching him speed, that they were just going to produce a document that said that he was certified to do that. Okay, same guy. Gotcha.
Yes. So had that judge told me that although you can request the footage, you will not be able to wait for the footage to become available because the morning of your hearing, the officer is going to bring it. Because guess what? On my way out, I left first, and then the cop, I heard the door come behind me, so I stopped and turned around. And he kind of had a look like, oh, fuck. And I was like, but I was cool. I was like, dude, I ain't mad at you, man. I said, I honestly didn't think I'd read the red light. And you could see his body kind of like, oh.
That you weren't going to be one of those guys, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I said, but you want to know the fucked up thing? His last name is Wilson. You want to know the fucked up thing, Mr. Wilson? He's like, what's that? I was like, I requested the footage, yet you have the footage. How does that work? He's like, well, to be honest with you, as soon as someone like you requests it, I get notified within 24 hours that you've requested it. So I apply for my copy of it, and I get it within 48.
So why shouldn't that be the same for?
Thank you.
What would you be? You would be the plaintiff.
The plaintiff, exactly. Like what the fuck? So you
the
get
plaintiff and the officer should get the same.
And because then it's
footage at the same time.
Right? Because that's what I told. That's what I ended with. I said, like, I wouldn't have wasted your time because I know your time is valuable for what you do. I wouldn't have wasted my time. I wouldn't have wasted the judge's time.
Everybody's time is valuable.
Right.
You shouldn't be disadvantaged over him.
Right.
And now he should see why that should be that way too. It's like, I wouldn't have had to come to court today if they would have just emailed a copy to the plaintiff too.
And that's what I told the judge. He's like, well, that's the police department. And he didn't even know that. I was like, no, it's not. I said, I called the police department first. And they specifically said, we do not handle that. You have to go to the court of record where your ticket is at. So I'm like, so I have to call Gilbert Courts? Yes, you have to call Gilbert Courts. So I called the Gilbert Courts. I said, your court system is 14 to 16 months behind now.
Do you see why the fucking judicial system is so screwed?
Right?
Because you taught them something while you were standing there. Yeah. They didn't know, right?
No,
you got to go to the police. Nope, tried that, brother.
Yep. It's the court. It's crazy, man. So then I had to pay the $248 fine, okay, for running red light. But again, the first judge should have told me, you're not going to get the opportunity to get this footage prior to your court date. So, Mr. Dunham, you can either pay $248 today, acknowledging that you ran this red light. Oh, and by the way, you're still going to have to take traffic school, motherfucker.
Right.
So, like, none of that was laid out because now I got to spend $450 to do traffic school.
Holy shit, it's up to $450.
for an entire 8-hour time frame, which I can do it
I think
online.
mine was 168 or something.
Well,
like
that's because you're in Pontiac.
No. I did it in Arizona.
Oh, fuck it. But
that was like 2004, 3, something like that. I don't know. Long time ago.
This is the racket now. Gilbert got $248 from me for a ticket, right?
Yep.
2 judges got paid for showing up to work that day. The county clerk got paid for showing up that day. The guys that scanned me coming in, got paid that day. Now I have
if that was the cop's day off, he probably got overtime.
He got paid, right? And now I have to go spend $450 to go to traffic school so that traffic instructor can get paid. So basically the city of Gilbert, because the first judge was fucking stupid, no offense, but you were, or he just purposely didn't tell me what he should have told me, because then I could have been like, and Nikki was with me, I would have been like, well, fuck it then. If I'm not going to get the footage, then there's no way I can say whether or not I did it, so fuck it. And I'm still waiting for the footage, by the way.
Well, it's a good thing you went to court so you got to see it.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, but it was dripping blood, man. It was so red. It was just.
Well, you said here publicly, this is at least the 4th or 5th time in your saga as this has been going on, that you've said every time, if I'm guilty, I'll pay the money. And I agree. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. So I'm standing at work the other day, and we're really not supposed to be on our phone. So, like when my phone goes off and I'm not dripping with oil or whatever, I'll pull it out and check it out. And it was from Discover Card, and it says $21.68. Did you authorize this? Possible fraud, right?
Right.
So it didn't ring a bell.
Yeah.
So I go out in the hallway and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at my Discover Card on the app, and I'm like, that just doesn't. I have recurring charges on that card, unless it's my 5% rotating category that I like. I only use it for revolving charges, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't recognize that, and everything on this card is a revolving charge.
Right.
Long story short, I call the next day and I say, I called that night, said that wasn't my charge. Please take it off, blah, blah, blah. We'll send you a new card. They were super nice. So the next day it hits me like a ton of bricks.
Okay.
I signed up for the Marquee Network, the Cubs baseball network.
Right on.
So I only subscribed to that, obviously, from April until October.
Right.
Hopefully October.
Because of baseball season.
Yes. So
Makes
being,
sense.
just like you said, if I'm guilty, I will own up to what I did. So the next day I call them back.
Yeah.
And they have awesome U.S.-based customer service.
Oh, nice.
But I'm on hold for like 5 or 6 minutes, and about halfway through it, I'm thinking they would never even bother investigating $21.68. I know this. I've had credit cards since I was 18 years old. I know how they operate because I used to use them to my advantage when I was younger and didn't have a lot of money and wanted to get away with shit. That's the equipment that you saw on stage every night. Part of that was paid for by MasterCard and Visa.
Right on.
But I'm thinking this is why people just give up and say, fuck it, because you can't get somebody on the phone to even do the right thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like I said, to their credit, when they came on the phone, they were very nice, and it was quick and easy and painless. And
you
just got to own up to, I just think that's good karma. That's what I believe in. You put good, positive energy out into the universe, you get good, positive energy back. I've proven it to myself on both sides. I've been a negative prick, and bad things happened, and I've tried to treat people as well as I can, and good things have happened. So I just think that's a good mantra to live by.
It is a good mantra,
And I really wanted to watch my Cubs baseball. So
So but now you have. So you're still subscribed, so they reversed it? You finally got to talk to somebody?
Yeah, when the guy got on the phone, he was like, oh, they don't even know that you disputed it because it was just yesterday that you initiated the fraud charge. He said they'll never even know, and everything will just keep going like it's going, and I got my new card today, and it's all good. It was just an innocent mistake. Yeah. They actually sent me the fraud notice before Marquee sent me the receipt for the charge.
Crazy.
That's what happened is the lady that came on the phone initially said, can you please look through your email and make sure you don't have an email from whoever you ordered whatever from?
Yeah.
And I looked and there was nothing there. And it was the next morning it popped up. And I'm like, you sons of bitches, how slow are you on your billing?
Right.
I subscribed to this over a week ago.
And it took them that long?
Not kidding. Yeah.
Wow.
Almost 7 days.
Wow. That's a little nuts.
Normally when you buy something on a credit card, it happens instantly.
Right.
At least a pending charge,
Sure.
So anyway, that was my good karma story, just like you owned up to yours. When I do something wrong, I try and say, hey, I fucked up, sorry.
Yeah. It's irritating because, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. I don't care. Hey, so we made a YouTube channel for little man. It's called Anthony Tanner's Adventures.
Okay. I will be subscribing.
It's quite comical. He has, Minecraft and just, he likes YouTube because that's the world we live in now, right? With this generation. So
they love YouTube. Yes.
Yeah. So one day he's like, Pop, record me. I was like, what am I recording? And he just starts talking. I'm like, hold on. So I hit record and, and he's explaining what he's doing. He's like, you can find me on Anthony.com. I'm like, dude, you can't, there's no Anthony.com available, buddy, because I looked for the hell of it. But I got Dave, the ChatGPT guy, to make me a nice little character of him based on a photo, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I showed him this morning the 3 videos, and he's just
seeing himself on the screen.
Well, he's seen enough of himself because I've had him every morning basically since he's 3 weeks old. I've documented his entire life, and I've documented as much as I can with Trip. I don't have Trip like I do with Little Man, but, so there's about a week ago, he asked me, we were hanging out in the morning and he'd asked me a question about something when he was littler, and I was like, oh, I can pull it up. So I have it all in Dropbox. So I pulled him up in Dropbox, and 5 years old. Okay. We're looking at going through videos when he's, 1 and just, random shit. He looks at me and says, wish I could go back in time. I'm like, you're 5, dude.
He said, I wish I could go back in time. That's awesome.
I'm like, you're 5, little man.
That's how I used to think.
I
still do.
Well, I do. Everybody does. But when you're 5?
Oh yeah. I thought like that definitely as a little kid.
I'm like, you're not gonna remember any of this, dude. That's why I have the pictures of it, because he's walking and yelling and screaming like he did, just random cool stuff. But yeah, it was interesting. I want to go back in time. I'm like, you're 5, man. Like, wait till you're at least 20 to want to go back in time, or maybe 15.
I used to want to be a character in all the books I read. I'd get caught up in that.
That's cool. That's really cool.
When you grow up in the middle of nowhere, you got to have an active imagination, because there's not a lot to do.
Right. Yeah. No, there's not. And even when I grew up in Tempe, there wasn't a lot to do, especially when I was young and home all the time, being sick. So it was always active imagination, all that kind of wacky stuff. So.
But I think that's what turned us into productive adults too, or creative adults.
I think creative for sure.
When you were growing up with your buddies, there was no internet, so you had to make up games.
Yeah,
that's all we did is make up games.
Yeah. And
as you got older, you played baseball or whatever.
So we played a game called and Don't Hate Me World. It was back in the 70s, late 70s, right? Late 70s, early 80s. Smear the Queer.
Smear the Queer. I knew that was going to come out right. Oh yeah, we did too. Absolutely.
And Capture the Flag.
We're the generation that played dodgeball.
Right, dodgeball. Yep. Doorbell
Big
ditching.
Kids would fuck you up.
Yep, doorbell ditch.
Oh yeah.
Which people? It's funny. There's people in my neighborhood on their Facebook page. They'll put some posts. They're not saying it like, those fucking asshole kids keep ding dong ditching my door. You come back here, I'm gonna kick your ass. It's like, really?
Did you fill it with dog shit and light it on fire?
I never did that. Although I'd like to do that.
I didn't do that, but I was with people that did.
It's crossed my mind a couple times with a couple of my people that live around me. But I know karma's a motherfucker, so I ain't doing it.
Old Well, Steele just told me a story about him and his buddies doing that, so I felt better about myself after that.
So they actually
he was just with his buddies like I was, you know?
Yeah.
That's
okay. Tell the story. You can't.
I'm not telling his story. It was just very, very similar.
Okay.
We'll have to get him.
Yeah, we
got to
get him on,
dude. He's got the best stories of crazy shit they did when they were kids. But
yeah,
he tells them better than I do because he was there. So
of course,
you got to remember he grew up in the '50s, so they really had nothing to do.
Oh yeah.
You know?
They were Stand By Me in real life.
Absolutely.
You know,
and those are all his stories. Is just like us growing up, we had a little more, but they just invented shit to do, and a lot of it was probably less than desirable to the adults.
Right.
But that's part of the fun of being a kid too. It just is.
Absolutely.
I kind of feel sorry for kids today that don't have a childhood like that. You drive around, and when we were all out riding bikes when the weather was nice, it's like you're hard pressed to find kids outside now.
Well, and that's the other thing that my neighborhood's brilliant for. We have this wash, okay? And the wash.
Describe to people what a wash is that don't.
Okay,
live in Arizona.
so we have. It's when we get a lot of rain. Rain will go through this wash. It's like the lowest point between communities. It kind of drops down, 15, 20 feet, and it creates a natural wash where the water flows from.
Yes.
In northeastern, southeastern part of the valley where we live, it just kind of trickles down through the backside of our neighborhood, goes around a corner and then crosses the street and just kind of keeps going and ends up collecting somewhere. So
there's no major storm sewers like there is.
No. So the
rest of the developed country.
So we have kind of a blacktop path on it that's enough for I don't know. You could get probably 8 people shoulder to shoulder walking across it. So in the mornings when you walk, whatever you share the space, right?
Sure.
Below that asphalt is natural vegetation, sandy bottom, dirt, whatnot, right? So a lot of people in our neighborhood, because we are a horse neighborhood, horse property neighborhood, 1 to 5 acres, people that have horses, they're in that wash all the time, going up and down. And what pisses me off about that is they'll go on the trail, right? They'll go on the pavement trail and they'll let their horses shit.
I was just going to ask that question.
So here's the thing, man, that just fucking gets
you got to clean up after your horse.
If I take the dozer out for a walk in the morning, he shits in the street, we have to clean it up.
Absolutely.
If the fucking neighbor's cat goes out and shits in the street, nobody cleans it up. Fuck that.
Right.
If you're riding a horse and the horse shits in the street, and they've actually shit on my street out front, and if
they don't leave little tiny shits.
No, they leave fucking. You want to talk about a bag on the front porch full of shit? That's like a fucking, that's a Glad garbage bag, man. But one of my neighbors, I watched it one day. Not the crazy cat people, the ones west of them, which is Brian. Fucking horses, 3 of them. They walked right by his driveway and they just shit, and they shit on the space that he goes from the road to his driveway. And they just kept going. So then when I saw Brian come home,
that's rude, dude.
Totally rude. Fucking get off your horse and clean up.
Absolutely.
Like fucking clean up. It's not.
You
cool.
live in a civilized neighborhood. It's not like you're living out on the fucking back 40.
Well, you take the idiot to the east of me. He's got a sign up saying, "Oh, it's a farm." It's not a farm, motherfucker. It's a residential community. You know why? Because there's a big
I'll take
sign.
pictures of some farms and send them.
Yeah,
to you.
I know. Because we got a big old sign that says "Residential Community. Drive with care." It's not fucking farmland, dickhead. I just, but yeah, he's got a thing. Oh, it's a farm. It smells. It's you're gonna see animals having sex. We're rednecks. We're God fearing. We're rifle bearing motherfuckers. Like, no, I gotta try and get.
No, you're an idiot.
I'm gonna try. I've tried a couple times to get a video of him. Like when I leave with little man, sometimes he's walking back towards his house from taking his kids, and he just walks with like a total "I'm an asshole." Just stoically, you're just walking, and he won't budge his
corn
head.
cob shoved straight up his ass.
Right. Won't even turn his eyes to look at my truck. Like he fucking owns his space. So if he's in the road and in my space, I will drive to the point to where if you don't get out of the road, I'm still going to move. But you're like a foot away from me clipping your ass because you're in the road. Like, get out.
I guess one thing I never asked you is how old is this guy?
I don't know, 40s, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe late 30s, early 40s. It's hard to tell because he's weathered with the sun and he's got a gray beard, but that doesn't mean anything. Gray, black hair, beard,
Right.
Because some people gray at 30, like fucking.
Yeah, my dad went gray probably around 30, 31.
Right.
Something like that.
What's his face? Matt LeBlanc, when he was on Friends, he was fucking white haired.
Yeah.
Nobody realized that because he dyed his hair black. Shocking. Yep. But yeah, straight up white hair, grayed looking old motherfucker.
Yeah, it's just in your genes.
Yeah. It is what it is. But,
I just wondered if he was like a crotchety old man or if he was a young kid.
If he was, the guy behind me is the crotchety old man. The guy behind me is the crotchety old man. The one that was cussing me out that night when I moved his ditch because he was taking my irrigation. Who has never since pulled his own ditch. Never, not once since that incident of him just berating me, dropping bombs. Yeah, not once. Because I'm like, I had texted him. I'm like, dude, if you can't pull your ditch stop out on time, then just hire a rancher to do it. They'll do it for $20. He tells me to fuck off. Don't ever bother me again, or I'm going to call the Queen Creek Police Department for harassment. I'm like, God bless you, Tom. Jesus loves you. Have a great day. Like, that's legit, God bless you.
Oh man, you're surrounded by assholes.
I am, which is a drag. Now take that back. The people the people to the west of us, the Poston family, fucking super nice. Poston Solomon family, super nice humans. Just their kids are growing up and just really, really, really nice family.
We got one family on our block that doesn't like really associate with anybody, but they don't bother anybody either, except their dogs fucking bark all the time. I guess that's their only.
Yeah. And Brian and Doreen next to the crazy cat lady, they're nice. And then Jim at the end of the street's nice, but you don't see him anywhere. There's people in my neighborhood. There's a lot of nice people in my neighborhood. I'm just unfortunately next to and across from two of the biggest.
That's what I'm saying. That
assholes.
sucks.
And, yeah. So this was the text to Tom Alberti, the dickhead to the south of me, May 7th, 2023. Hey, Tom, if you can't close your port on time, please pay RJID, which is our irrigation district. My run started at 12:45 a.m. You shut your port at 2:04. You cost me full flow, which is the rate of water you get. This is Tom Alberti's response. A volunteer posse member for the Pinell County Sheriff's Department, mind you. Okay. Did you see anything threatening in that text?
No, not at all. Zero.
Quote, starting the quote. Fuck off. I shut my port way before that. If you text me anymore, I will file harassment charges with the police. End quote. My response, God bless you, Tom. Jesus loves you. There it is. Tom Alberti, ladies and gentlemen, a volunteer deputy for the Pinell County Sheriff's Department. Has not shown up at the fence line since.
See, that's what sucks. It's that 1% of the cops that gives all of them a bad name because they're not all bad.
So here's the thing. So
just like that guy you talked to, he was cool.
He was cool. He was still a cop, and he still, gave me a ticket, so that wasn't cool.
You broke the law, sir. You're a criminal.
I did break the law, but I was responsible.
I just like saying you're a criminal.
I know. I was responsible. I was found responsible, not guilty. But according to the state, I was found guilty, even though the judge clearly said, "This is not criminal court. You're responsible or not responsible." Well, I beg to differ, Judge.
No, that says convicted.
It does. I should scan it and send to him because I have his email. Like, dude, what the fuck? You said this wasn't a guilt or innocence. Like I don't
see responsible or not responsible anywhere on here. This says I'm guilty.
Right. You hammered that point. Like he hammered it. Like big time. So there's that. What do you have to talk about? Because I've obviously been running my mouth for the last 34 minutes.
You're fine.
Okay. I know. Hey, the draft's coming up, right? Isn't the NFL draft coming up? Yeah. Isn't that coming up?
I would assume so.
Have you been watching any of the basketball playoffs? Because I haven't.
No, I don't watch the NBA. That's one thing I do not do. I gave up on the NBA, I don't know, maybe shortly after Barkley and those guys stopped playing.
Yeah, I did after I'm going to say after probably 5 years after the Jordan era ended it just started changing because there's still some really good teams back then.
Yeah, so like whenever they quit playing defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, like the queen of the flop queen. How he just, he turns the ball over and just stands at the other end.
Then the other half of the game is they go up the court, somebody shoots a three, they either make it or they miss, and then they ship it down to the other end, shoot another three. That's just, I can't remember who it was. Somebody that's inside the NBA just basically said that exact same thing, only they had a really long lecture on it, basically telling the NBA, if you don't clean the game up, you're going to lose your product because people are like dropping like flies. I mean, I dropped 20 years ago, but now people are stopping watching the NBA at unprecedented numbers.
Yet here's how the media spins the shit. Latest from NBA.com. 2025 NBA playoffs deliver most watched opening weekend in 25 years. Probably because they wanted to see if the Lakers would lose, because LeBron is now 12-12 in opening games, and he usually goes on to lose the series when he loses his first game. So according to the NBA.com, whoever runs NBA.com, the 25 NBA playoffs presented by Google. And this happens to be a Google article. Real news. Delivered the most watched opening weekend of the playoffs in 25 years. The 8-game schedule averaged 4.4 million viewers, up 17% versus last year. Both ESPN and TNT Sports set viewership records for the opening weekend. ESPN claimed they averaged 4.49 million viewers, while TNT, True TV, and Max's 2 games averaged 4.13 million, which I guess, in all summary-wise, ends up being 4.4 million. But let's go deeper down the rabbit hole, shall we? Let's see what Jordan Arabull's gotten in views. Jordan Arabull.
There weren't as many people living in the United States then.
Viewership. It doesn't matter. 1988 had NBA Finals between the Bulls and the Jazz averaged 18.7 rating, 33 share, and 29.04 million viewers on NBC. 29 million viewers on NBC. That was the highest NBA viewership ever for a championship game.
The Jordan
Now back to your comment. The NBA is reportedly suffering a decline in viewership. Fans around the world have been chiming in to provide potential reasons for why fewer fans are tuning into live games via traditional
because their fucking
networks.
product sucks.
Yes, and this was January 27th, with some noting that the rise in streaming platforms such as League Pass is partly the cause. Well, yeah, okay.
That's part of it, but most of it is what Barkley keeps preaching, which is the stupid load management shit, where the guys that you want to see play only play like one time out of every 4.
Yep.
And the rest of the time they're like, oh, I got my hip.
Right.
Yeah, my inner thigh hurts. I'm trying to think of the dumbest shit ever, you know? Because Barkley's like, yeah, the guy who's going into the coal mine, I bet his back and his hip hurt too, but he's got to go to work every day.
Speaking of coal miners' daughters, Nikki's dad, a coal miner, just had back surgery 2 weeks ago, and the scar goes from the base of his neck all the way to the tip of his ass.
Oh, my God.
Yep. Yep. But he's been kind of whack-a-mole for a while. He's kind of getting to that age where the problem that happened.
That would hurt so bad.
The turning point for him, they lived in this really cool community. He took care of the house, the yard. He had his camper spot, this weird camp weekend place. He'd go camp with a camper there, and just was always outdoors doing shit, right? Because when you have land, you're doing shit. Whether you have an acre, 40 acres, or like your size lot, right? 13,000 square foot lot, whatever you have, right? You're doing shit. You have to do shit outdoors. You just can't let it go, right?
Right.
You have to.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you don't mow your fucking lawn. Right. You still got to do shit. Right. But you still got to do shit. You got to, gutters and, blah, blah, blah. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, his wife decides that they're going to sell that shit and move to some other city in Pennsylvania to be closer to his son. He has 4 kids. One died, Tony, Nikki, Michael, who was the second baby mama, and the current one is the third baby mama. Nikki and Tony's mom, which was his first two kids, unfortunately died when they were both young, Crohn's disease complications.
Wow.
So she takes George completely out of his environment and sticks him to a condo. Right? You imagine me living in a condo?
No, not for 1 second. You
Right,
go you're like my brother. You and my brother are the same kind of, I got to be doing something. I got to be moving. It's just, he wouldn't be happy sitting around, and you wouldn't be. I'm not kidding you. In that respect, you guys are the exact same person. Right. No, I can't imagine my brother sitting on a couch in a condo, and I can't imagine you sitting on a couch in a condo. It just isn't going to work.
Now,
I'd be happier than fucking shit. Give me a guitar and a TV, and I'm happy.
Well, and see if eventually I end up going into a condo because of age, I'll fucking be on that board and shit, man. I'll fucking be out there on a cleanup committee. I'll be fucking sticking my nose in everybody's business, right? Because
I'm hoping you're a world famous podcaster by then, and you're too busy to do all that shit. But
I would still do it anyway.
Somehow I believe that. So to put this into perspective, my brother's up to 4 jobs. That's why we don't see him very often.
Yeah. Why is he up to 4 jobs?
Just because he likes to stay. When I told you you're the same person, he just likes to stay busy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Or if he sees an angle to be like, one year he took a job at a golf course just so he could play golf for free.
Oh.
He only had to work 10 hours a week or something, or 15 hours a week, and he got to play for free for the whole summer. So I think he did that 2 summers in a row.
What did he do at the golf course?
Oh, I think he handed out golf carts and picked up range balls, and I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? He just took a job there so he could play golf.
That's fucking cool.
Now I think he's got his EMT license.
Oh. So
he's working at 2 different ambulance outfits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. And what's because isn't he a tech dude?
He's a cybersecurity expert at State Farm.
Okay.
He has a master's degree in cybersecurity, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what his exact degree's in, but that's what he does. He's a cybersecurity expert.
That's cool.
Keep their servers and infrastructure maintained. Yeah.
And that's boring for him. So he got another job.
Yeah. He had ADD before they knew what that was. He just can't sit still,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Nikki.
And that's one thing I agree with listening to Rogan over and over and over again, because he talks about this a lot. The way that we raise specifically boys is so just counterintuitive to the way the human nature is, right?
Okay.
Because you were a young boy and you had a young boy and now you have grandsons. When you're that age, they have more energy than anybody can ever imagine. And we expect them to sit in a classroom for so many hours a day and behave, right?
Yeah.
That's just not in the male DNA, and it's not in our nature. So, we should be burning that off as much as we can and then trying to learn. And, we just keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I honestly think I've extrapolated that all to, I think that's why you end up with a lot of kids who are horrible drug addicts when they get to be in high school, because they started off on Ritalin and God knows whatever they gave them to keep them calm in the classroom.
Yeah.
And then they start experimenting with keeping themselves calm. And next thing you know, they're shooting up the school because they don't know how to do drugs.
Right. That's one of the things that one of my family members, alluded to. They were self-medicating because they were trying to not feel the way they were constantly feeling because of the I don't want to say mental illness, but just the ADHD, the ADD, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because we weren't big. We were when our kids were growing up. When we grew up, right? Okay. Case in point, we were rambunctious in school, right? We weren't put on medicine. Sit the fuck down, Chris.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, to my mom's credit, they tried to do that to my brother, and my mom was, even way back then, you're talking like the mid 80s, because he was born in 1981, and they were pleading with her to put him on this medication, and she was like, no.
Yeah.
We don't know what that's going to do to him later on in life, and I'm not going to be responsible for that. So, kudos to her for dealing with him, because he was a handful, because nobody really knew what that was at that time, Right. You just said, oh, they're a handful, or they're a problem child, or whatever. It's like, no, they're a young boy, and that's in their DNA, and that's just how he is. So, like, to wrap up his story, that's why he has 4 jobs. He's just got his mind has to stay busy all the time. So he's either sleeping or he's working. He doesn't know anything else.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, we fought, because people told us that about Sky. We're like, no, not doing it, not doing it. You need to do better as a teacher. Not doing it. Not doing it.
And kudos to you too. Yeah.
And then we finally did it, and we're like, oh fuck. Whoops. Our bad. But you don't want to do that. Like you said, like your mom said, you don't know what the impact's going to be. It's just like this. What is it? I don't know how to say it right. Ozempic or
Ozempic.
Yeah, I always fuck that word.
Ozempic.
You don't know, and I think Nate and I touched on this. You don't know the
Ozempic.
Right. Right. We don't know the long-term effect of that. Nobody does. No. And people.
It's probably making you lose weight because it's killing you.
Well, it's originally for diabetes. That's how they discovered it, right? It's kind of like how they discovered what Viagra does side effect, because it was for Navy SEALs to keep their blood whatever going during their training. And then all of a sudden, all these fucking Navy SEALs are standing on the beach line with heart on.
It was supposed to thicken up their blood, and it did such a good job that it gave them all boners. Yeah,
right. It's like, okay, this is not standing at attention, gentlemen. So thank you. But the Ozempic thing, whatever the fuck, I can't say it.
Ozempic.
That was for diabetes. And then they realized that diabetes patients are losing weight. Well, all of a sudden, and what's a multi-trillion-dollar industry? Weight loss.
Weight loss.
Yep. What's another multi-trillion-dollar industry? Porn. What's another multi-billion-dollar industry? Health.
Porn is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Probably billion, probably not trillion, because
it is still the most. It is still responsible for the internet infrastructure maintaining itself. Just for the record.
No shit.
Still to this day. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Always has been.
That's crazy.
It's been the backbone of the internet since the get-go. Whether people want to admit that or not, that's a fucking fact.
Yeah.
So, all you people who say you've never looked at porn, most of you are liars.
You're lying. I've looked at it. I'm not a big porn guy. Never have been.
I know, I believe that from you, because you're an honest. I've known you since 1994 or whatever. I know who you are as a person, and when you say that, I believe you.
Yeah.
I've looked at plenty of it. It's just.
I've looked at it. I've looked at it, but it's not something
I've been a single guy a lot of times in my life. Facts are facts, man.
Yeah, it's those things like back in the day, right? When all of a sudden the celebrity sex tapes come out, that was like, oh, let's see Pamela Anderson, riding Tommy. What the fuck is his last name?
Oh, Tommy Lee from Motley Crue.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff. That's just the human nature of wanting. It's your curiosity, because you hear ramblings that. He's hung like a horse. I never actually watched it, because by the time I get around, fuck it, I'll take a look. You couldn't get it anymore.
Well, here's a crazy story.
Yeah, okay.
Because, I'm not afraid to out myself, because what the fuck do I got to lose?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just part of being a human being. But I came from here, just everyday USA, Mayberry, 12,000 people.
Yeah.
So when I moved to Chicago, that was one culture shock, and I learned a lot from people up there. That was the first time I ever went to a strip club and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to Phoenix, I obviously met Scott, and one thing Scott was not afraid to tell you was that he really liked sex a lot, Yeah. And so he was like, have you ever been to one of those shops where they sell the videos? Ladies and gentlemen, there wasn't always the internet, and you actually had to go to a place and you had to buy a fucking
like adult store. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, no,
like a blockbuster for adults.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were always those tan buildings that were very unconspicuous or inconspicuous and just had a sign out front, and the rest of them were just
that said adult videos.
Yes.
Yeah, there was one. There's not there anymore. When every time we'd go to the Rattlers game, when they still played in Phoenix. On like the, I don't know.
On I-10, right?
No, it's off I-10, but off of Lincoln. Like you get off on 7th Street or whatever, and you're going to turn on Lincoln to go towards the Suns Arena. It was this weird, like you just said, like a beige building.
Yep.
And the windows were there, but they were glossed over with something. And it had this not neon sign, but just a regular sign on the wall that said, what is it? Adult XXX videos. That's all it said.
That was it.
That's all it said. And there was always cars in the parking lot.
Always.
Always.
Because what I didn't know is they had a back room to that place that very few people that went to those places knew about, where they had like fucking peep shows like the 1970s or 80s.
No shit.
Yes. This is the part that Scott introduced me to.
So like Amsterdam, the red light district, because I've never been to Amsterdam, nor have you.
Nor have I.
We would have been if we would have went on a worldwide tour. But I've heard the stories that you put money, you go on those things, you put money in the little thing, and then the screen comes up and there's a chick doing whatever she's doing.
Yes, and this was a very similar setup.
Okay.
So that's the place he took me to. You know, I was like, I'm perusing around the videos, and he's like, "What are you doing, man? You gonna fucking buy a video?" I'm like, "I don't know, I'm just looking." He says, "Follow me." So, you know, he talked to whoever, and then we go in the fucking back room, and the curtain opens up, and
no shit.
There wasn't like a coin operated thing. You just paid the guy, you know, and then you went back there, and the curtain opened, and you got your show or whatever. And if you wanted another one, then you paid more money or whatever. But it was culture shock enough for me to walk into an adult video store, and this fucker takes me back and shows me real life chicks who are stripping in the back that I had no idea about.
So that's what I was going to ask. What was the show? Just stripping?
It was just basically a strip tease,
Okay.
So they're behind a piece of plexiglass. You can't touch them or anything, and they can't even touch you. They're just behind a piece of glass, and you're sitting in a chair. And I'm not sure how that's real appealing for people, but
no. I don't see. I've never, and I think we've talked about this. I've never really understood the appeal for strip clubs, because you can't touch the chick. You're not going home with the chick, right?
No, but for me, it was more about the camaraderie of hanging out with my buddies. So like you were with Nikki, and Rick was with Carrie, and Scott was with Carrie, right? So when you guys would go your separate ways, I would hang out with my buddy Dave Smith, and he was newly back from the Gulf War and crazy as a fucking loon. And he loved to hang out at strip clubs.
Okay.
So for me, I associated it with hanging out with him. And then Ray Stone, he played at the Naval Base, which was off I-17.
Okay.
Huge fucking place. They would have Penthouse Pets and Playboy Playmates come through and dance, you know, on their little tours and shit.
Yep, the USO stuff,
Yeah, crazy stuff like that. So they actually had a live band instead of having a DJ on Friday and Saturday night. So Ray's band played there.
Cool.
I wasn't necessarily going there as, you know, I'm going to pick up chicks, because I saw very quickly that wasn't going to happen. And the girls that got to know me, especially going to see Ray play, they would totally understand that, and I would get all kinds of fringe benefits, you know, free dances and free drinks, and like, I'm not here to hit on you. And I learned a lot about them there too. Like a lot of them would get stuck in the trap where people don't understand this. A lot of them are really going to school.
Yes.
You know, that's not just a story.
No.
They are really going to school to be accountants and doctors and lawyers and whatever. But here's the trap they fall into. They can make $2,500 a day. Some of them up to $3,000 or $4,000 a day. Being a stripper.
Untaxed.
Yeah. Well,
and I've sold houses. Yeah. Right. And I've sold houses in the past. I mean, years ago, to strippers. And when you could have mattress money, boys and girls, was if you had a home, you had money in your safe. You just had to explain to the lender, oh, I have, you know, $60,000 in my safe at home because I'm a dancer. And they deposit it in their bank over a 90-day period of time, and then we can use. Then it's seasoned, and then we can use that for their down payment and closing costs, whatever. Now it doesn't work because it's mattress money, and you know, it's still making that kind of money, right? Because why would they have stopped? But you can't. There's you got to claim it if you deposit it, and if so, it's just weird little shit now. But yeah. And they were fun to work with because there was there's no sexual innuendos at all. Like, people got to understand that they're humans. I'm a realtor. I'm selling them a property. That's it. 100% business. So there was no flirting. There was no fucking around. There was no innuendo discussions at all. And I think that's why I ended up selling 2 or 3, because I legit I don't care what you do for a living. My job is to find you a house. You strip,
Right.
cool. That means you have cash. You can pay your own closing costs. Woo, let's go. I don't care. I could care less what you do. It's none of my business. All I want to know is you're approved. How much you want to spend? Let's go.
That was initially the problem with when the state of Colorado made marijuana legal. They were the first state, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the federal government did two things, which was bullshit.
Yep.
They immediately told all the pot distributors, anybody who was in that business, they told the banks, if you accept any money from any of these businesses, we will revoke your FDIC, deposit insurance immediately. That'll be the first thing that'll happen.
Yep.
So that's since been fixed. But the next thing they did is, since it was federally illegal, they tried to do raids on these grow houses, which was bullshit too.
Yeah.
It was a rough start, but
yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I found
they
interesting?
made it super rough.
When we were in New Orleans in March, New Orleans is not a marijuana-free state.
I find that hard to believe. Yeah.
I was blown away by that. I was thinking, and I was just
no shit.
Like really? Arizona's got dispensaries fucking every corner.
Which I find that hard to believe.
Right, and
when you told me that, I was shocked because mostly Arizona's Republican conservatives.
Right? Yeah, no, I'm just top of my head because I drive by them. There's at least two within 5 miles of my house. As I go
is
to
it
my
all
office.
of Arizona or is it just Maricopa County?
I don't know. I know Illinois has them in certain spots because when I was back there years ago for my
the whole state of Illinois is legal.
Okay, yeah. So I know, but yeah, New Orleans, it's not. It's one of the things when we got there, we were fucking around, walking up and down where Bourbon Street is, but the street off Bourbon Street, like where all the other stuff is, and you see smoke shops, and so I looked at Nikki. I'm like, there's no dispensaries around here, and and so we went back to the room. When we went back to the room, I googled it. New Orleans does not have medical marijuana. I know it has medical. That's it.
No recreational.
You have to have all the proper documentation for medical purposes only. It's not recreational at all. Which I was.
The only problem in Illinois is you can't afford to buy it.
Is that expensive?
Oh, it's so there's 5 taxes that they can exercise on marijuana. Illinois exercises 4 of them.
Fuck.
The state of Michigan only exercises 2, and they're capped.
Which is why I drive to Michigan.
Yes. And their taxes are capped at a flat 10%.
Oh, that's good.
We have like a 23% tax for anything over 50% THC. There's the actual THC tax. There's a state tax. There's a county tax. It's fucking outrageous.
See, and I always believed, I was of the train of thought when they started dabbling with legalizing it, like, I liked what Colorado did, and I thought, okay, well, if you take the legalization of marijuana and then you tax the fuck out of it, kind of like you're saying, like you tax cigarettes and you tax beer and you tax alcohol.
Illinois made $1.2 billion for 2024.
Okay, see, so you take the revenue you make from selling marijuana legally and you pump it into schools and first responders.
But that's not happening.
I know, which is fucked up.
Nobody knows where that money's going.
Which is fucked up because think about it. Imagine if Arizona school districts, if you do it citywide. So like say you have 5 dispensaries in Chandler, so you tax that, and the taxes that are collected from those 5 dispensaries in Chandler goes in the Chandler Unified School District. You know what I'm saying? Same with Tempe, same with Phoenix, same with Mesa.
We got one here. Believe it or not, in our little town, we have one. I agree with you. That money should go straight to the grade schools and the high school.
Because like gaming, right? So all I know is Navajos and Apache. So the Navajos, when they have their casinos and shit, don't get mad at me, people. Don't get mad at me, Tony. Okay, because I'm just ignorant when it comes to that. But and I don't want to call it. I guess it's Indian gaming, right? Okay, so the Indian gaming, right? A big portion of that goes back to their people, not enough, and I don't know what the fuck to do with it. But then another portion of that goes to schools because there's Nikki gets money every year based on the gaming proceeds. Sure. I don't know how.
Because that was an agreement I think that they made.
Probably. But so that's benefiting non-reservationists, right? So
yes. And I don't think they have to do that, so they probably do that out of the kindness of their heart.
Well, they're fucking
because that's sovereign land.
And they're making bank. And you can
I'm just saying that's cool that they do that because they probably don't have to, being that they're not governed by the federal government, right?
Agreed, but I think it probably helps.
It helps their public image for sure.
Yes. And it does. They pump money into schools, and you can tell when they get their checks in Arizona, because all of a sudden when you're driving through those parts of the valley, oh, brand new Escalade, 1, 2, oh, there's an F-150, oh, there's a Dodge, oh, there's a Bentley. Like, somebody got their checks. Their houses are fucking falling apart. There's fucking nothing in the yard.
I'll tell you what's going to happen to Illinois is the same thing that happened to Michigan. Only Michigan was smart from the get-go. Marijuana grows very easily. So when you have scientists growing it, which is what they have now, like these grow houses, they employ biologists who graduate from an actual university and have degrees. So for the people who are anti-marijuana who are listening to this out there, the industry that cropped up around it, no pun intended, but it really, you have chemists, you have biologists, you have botanists, you know, all these people are now employed who had degrees in this that couldn't find jobs elsewhere. That's beside the point. Yep. Marijuana is super easy to grow for anybody. For an idiot can grow it, right?
Yep.
So when you have trained professionals growing it, you end up with yields that are out of this world. And now they are. I thought I was going to say they're practically giving it away. There were 3 billboards on my way there last time that said, if you're one of the first 310 customers today, we'll give you a free half ounce. So they're literally giving weed away up there.
Wow.
The same thing's going to happen to Illinois. They're going to find that they're going to end up with way too much product because nobody's going to pay that exorbitant amount forever.
Right.
You just can't.
Okay.
And then they're going to have to drive the prices down.
As of this was December 18th, 2006. Okay. Because I Googled this shit.
Okay.
2006. I asked Google marijuana crops in America. So I clicked on the button, what is the USA's largest cash crop? Okay, 2006. This is 2025. The study estimates that marijuana production at a value of $35.8 billion exceeds the combined value of corn, $23.3 billion, and wheat, $7.5 billion. To activists for marijuana legalization, study confirms a position they've held for years and uses government stats to support their claim. That was in 2006.
Imagine what it is now.
That's why I was hoping I was going to get that. Chart. Marijuana is the 6th biggest cash crop in the United States. This was August 2023. A report in 2022 saw cannabis harvest of 2.83 metric tons. That's a lot of fuck tons. Up to 24% from 2021. While the count of states having legalized marijuana stands only at 23. 15 had at the time of the release of the new report come as far as opening state licensed retail stores, mainly due to the flurry of legislation since 21, altering 9 states. The 15 states where dispensaries are open and tied to more than 13,000 active legal cannabis farms, according to Leafy. This is a thing called Leafy.
Well, here's the real tragedy, and I'll have you look this up too.
Yep.
When we were sold this horrible bill of goods that basically prohibited people from doing marijuana, they also prohibited farmers from growing hemp at the same time because they didn't understand that it was 2 different products, right?
Correct.
You only get buds from the female plant, for those of you who are listening that don't know a lot about growing marijuana. Cannabis, the male plant, is full of essential nutrients. You can build buildings out of it. You can make clothes out of it. It's basically like a plant from space.
Right. Everything like the Jesus time and the pirates and shit. A lot of those clothes.
All that shit
from
was
hemp.
made. Every bit of it was.
Right. The ropes. Yep.
So, type in is growing hemp legal anywhere in the United States?
Well,
because the other thing they do is they make like. Well, you would be familiar with it, so would Nate. A lot of your supplements are made out of hemp.
CBC and CBC. Now, before I go off of this page, because what I just read a minute ago was in 2006, marijuana beat out corn and wheat combined, right? Well, according to this thing in 2022, marijuana was only at $5 billion. So somebody's fucking massaging the stats there. And corn was 82.6 billion. So, somebody's lying. Hemp.
I just want to know if it's legal to grow anywhere in the United States yet. I would think it would be.
Is it legal to grow hemp in America? Hemp is a legal crop in the United States. It was legal in the 18th and 19th century. Then production was effectively banned until the mid-20th century and has returned as a legal crop in the 21st century.
Nice.
How many can you grow hemp legally? In order to produce hemp in the United States, you must obtain a hemp license from the approved regulatory licensing authority in the state, tribe, or U.S. territory where you intend to produce hemp. Where can you grow hemp in the United States? Colorado. The Rocky Mountain State enjoys an established, long-running hemp program with clear and reliable rules. Oregon farmers like those in the Colorado benefit from a business-friendly Department of Agriculture. New York, South Dakota.
I'm
Idaho,
surprised by New York.
Idaho, and Mississippi.
Okay.
Is hemp legal in all 50 states? CBD possession in 50 states, yes. Contrary to popular opinion, CBD is not legal in all 50 states, even if it's sourced from hemp. This is because all states have their own Controlled Substance Act, which generally mirror the federal CSA. And
which is so stupid that they call CBD a controlled substance, because it's only positive. There's only positive. You don't get high from it.
Right, because it is. It's legal. It's because it says, "Can I grow my own hemp?" And it says it's legal federally in all 50 states.
That's awesome. I guess that's what I was looking for.
Any cannabis plant or product that has a higher than 0.03% THC content is classified as marijuana from both a legal and commercial standpoint. So it's important to know the THC levels in the species, variety, or hybrid that you plan to grow.
Well, you're only going to get THC out of the female plant. So if you got a bunch of male plants, you're going to be waiting a while.
How much does hemp sell for a pound? $600 per pound.
That's
THC hemp flower, price per pound. As I'm saying this, I'm thinking about that person that gave us feedback about every time you say "p" on the podcast, and you get the people prevent pickle.
You have a windscreen on the front of that microphone.
Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah.
Right on.
The actual microphone is way down inside that microphone.
Oh, cool.
You can take that screen off, and you'll see where the actual diaphragm is.
Oh, I can touch it. Okay. Yeah. So, for greenhouse and mixed light-grown THC. And it has a weird thing, THCA. Like THC is all caps and a little tiny A, hemp flower.
They've subdivided it into THCA and THC, maybe it's B or C. Fuck, I don't remember.
So March 26, 2024, it's between $600 and $1,400 a pound with an average price of $823 per pound. I wonder how many hemp plants you would need to produce a pound of hemp.
A lot.
Yeah.
I won't name any names, but you know who I'm talking about. That's how much our friend was buying a pound for in the early to mid 90s. $600.
Okay. So
it's a very stable product too.
Yeah,
I guess is my point.
Yeah, and it takes a few weeks for the seeds to sprout and to grow into healthy seedlings, hemp that is. But you can harvest hemp as soon as the seeds start to develop, which takes about 4 months. If you harvest them sooner, the stem won't be as sturdy.
See what I'm saying, though? You can get like a lot of growing seasons because it only takes, between 4 and 6 months to get a usable crop.
Right.
So you're going to get 3 crops a year if your, soil's turned over right and you know what you're doing.
Right. So I should just turn my acre into a hemp production farm.
You should. Yes. Start making sales. Build the next Mayflower.
Honey, we're going to start growing hemp in the pasture. Fuck the chickens.
See, you don't watch South Park, or that would be even funnier, because that's what Randy did. He moved to the country and became a hemp farmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I've never watched South Park. I tried to. It's kind of like
hilarious.
Breaking Bad. I never watched Breaking Bad, but Breaking
Bad
hit, I know. It hit too close to home, man. In the height of
for
that
me
show,
too. Trust me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I lived
so it's
it.
just, we just watched We're one episode left, I think, for the Yellowstone wrap up. So that's a trip if you haven't been watching Yellowstone.
Oh yeah, I'm all caught up on that.
So we're at the one where they auctioned everything off. And they got $30 million, and Casey's like, "Hey, how much is that Bentley worth?" Well, it's worth shit because it's a lease. Well, if you owned it, $300,000. So if I bought it for $1, would it be taxed on the $1 or the $300,000? And then she was like, the $1. Yep. And then all of a sudden, all the bells went off. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So I'm Nikki and I are of the like mind that they're going to sell it to Rip for like $1, and Rip will pay taxes on $1 because he deserves it more than anybody, and then stick it to the man that way. Who knows? But don't tell me. I don't want to know. Okay. Nikki likes this writer called Harlan Coben, so we finished watching this show called Missing You. It's pretty good.
What's
it's
that
based on? It's Netflix. If Harlan Coben, whatever, if you type in Missing You, you'll get all. It's got a whole bunch of cool crime drama shit. We watched that Don't Move, where the chick gets paralyzed. That was a good flick.
Yes.
It wasn't one of those that you're glued to the screen because you could get up and leave and come back in the room and you still know what's going on. So it was a cool background movie that was entertaining enough to keep your attention. The concept was really cool. None of it was really far-fetched. Some of the things the serial killer did in it was like, fucking really, dude. But other than that, it was a good flick. It was one of the guys. The serial killer was a guy from the American Horror Story series. It wasn't Tate, the blonde one, who's just a fucking phenomenal actor. There's another guy. I forget what he played in the series, but he's a good actor. And then the chick. The reason why I brought that up, the chick in it was Casey's wife in Yellowstone. That's who plays the main female character in Missing You.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's a good. You don't realize how fucking. Like TV ads, 10 pounds. This fucking chick's a rail, man. Like there's nothing to her.
Yeah, Rogan said that's bullshit. Those people are just fat. He said, I don't know. He said, I've always heard that. And he was on news radio for, 5 years. He's like, I look like me, man.
Well, no, but she really is. She's a rail, dude.
Oh, she is super skinny. No question.
Like when she was walking away, one of the scenes, she was walking through the forest with the serial killer, not knowing he was a serial killer. And legit, like her, you have the woman's ass, which we all love women's asses. And then you have, the little apple part that goes up, and then, the legs come down. Like there was nothing left of the imagination. She's that skinny. And she's wearing tight-fitting jeans. Not that there was anything exposed, but just you could see that, wow, she's just skinny. Like there's nothing there.
Yeah, I almost like the mystery more than the reward sometimes.
Well, yeah, no, and it wasn't anything revealing. It's you could tell somebody's really skinny from behind, You just can, because you can, And she was wearing what would be worn in the mountains anyway, so,
Have you guys watched Happy Face on Paramount yet?
I started it and then
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I started it, but I didn't.
I'm waiting until all the episodes come out. I don't like to wait for that shit. Yeah. It drives me nuts.
I didn't give it the attention it deserved because it came across the thing the other day. I was like, oh, yeah, Happy Face.
Yeah, I keep meaning to ask you about that every time I see the preview for it, and I just keep forgetting.
Yeah, it's based on a true story.
Yeah, that's why I want to watch it.
Yeah.
Her dad was a serial killer.
Yeah, which is, that's kind of cool. It's kind of like how Jake, the call play-by-play guy, he's a serial killer.
That legend's gonna live on forever.
Yeah,
Jake the serial killer.
Jake serial killer.
Poor kid's gonna go to get a fucking job, and they're gonna be like, "Nope, you're a known serial killer."
Yeah. So that was funny. It was funny.
It's just my persona on the radio.
You're right. All right.
Hey, I got one that'll blow you away.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, anything else you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, this one I had to do a double take on this. It says the last time all living humans were on Earth simultaneously was October 31st, 2000. Mama Kay's birthday, by the way.
Okay, happy birthday, Mama Kay. October 31st, 2000.
The last time all living humans were on Earth simultaneously was October 31st, 2000. So it says since October 31st, 2000, humans have maintained a continuous presence in space aboard the International Space Station. This began with Expedition 1, and since then, crews from around the world have rotated in and out, conducting scientific research and advancing space exploration without a break. So we've always had someone off the planet for the last 25 years.
I saw some bullshit the other day, and I call bullshit because I just call bullshit, that there's going to be hotels in space by 2027.
I saw that same thing.
I don't. If that was true, I think there'd be a lot more documentation on it and the progress. I did see something that was interesting on Instagram because I follow NASA and stuff. They had the Earth, and then they had, I don't know how they got the picture of the Earth, like they were hanging out on Saturn or something, and had this outside angle looking in on Earth, and the satellites. That's from 1965 to now.
I've seen that too.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, because we kind of touched on this when I told you that there were. What'd they say? If they don't do something by 2035 or 2040 or something, might have been sooner than that.
Start falling
if we don't make some kind of concerted effort,
we're stuck.
We're not going to be able to get off the planet. Yeah.
No. And you got to imagine.
Here's another one that'll blow you away.
Okay.
Oh, no. Say what you're going to say.
Well, no, I was just saying that you got to imagine some of those things are fucking going to start falling out of the sky.
Yes. That was another worry that they had.
And how do you launch? How do you go to the moon, or how do you go into space without running into satellites? And when the space station guys are taking pictures outside, how come you can't see the satellites? You all of a sudden you can start seeing UFOs and shit, but why aren't you seeing the satellites hovering?
So here's the problem.
Okay.
It's not that it's like the LA freeway at 4:00.
Good analogy.
It's that we only have a couple windows on Earth to get into space, like launch angle and trajectory.
I knew that, which is why stuff gets scrubbed.
The problem is if we get too many orbiting objects, there's always going to be an object going by when we need to get out. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's the problem. It's not that we're going to be like, and they did say that if we continue at the rate we're going, it will be like the LA freeway at 4:00. Yeah. But our problem right now is we're going to have enough things orbiting the Earth that the few places that we can actually get off the planet from, it's not an accident that they do it from Florida and Texas and certain places in China. And, they strategically position these because that's the safest way to get off the planet.
Gotcha.
You can't just go straight up and slam into whatever, all that shit's way above my head, but yeah, they have to go out at specific points. And if we launch too many satellites that are orbiting the Earth, everything will be clogged up to where there's always going to be a satellite going by when we want to launch our rocket out there.
Well, and you would think with the technology we have that we've now been obviously digging deeper into the alien artifacts that we have, and people like Elon Musk, who's brilliant. I don't care what anybody really thinks. I mean, the man himself is fucking brilliant. You love him or hate him, I don't give a fuck. He's brilliant. You call it for what it is. It may be a whack-a-mole, but he's fucking brilliant.
If anybody says he's stupid, they're stupid. Yeah, he's a genius.
So you would think they could take...
He just shouldn't be running the government.
Agreed. So we have, let's just say there's 10 million satellites orbiting Earth, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if that's an accurate number or not, but let's just say there's 10 million satellites orbiting Earth. Why can't we take 5 million of them and then flush them down the toilet and just take 10 satellites and combine the usage for those 50 million or those 5 million? You know what I mean? Like you can build a better spaceship, right? Because he proved that. Like he can launch that spaceship and then the fucking booster comes back and lands itself. Yes. So you're no longer wasting the booster except for the times
he did build a better rocket. Yes.
Right. So why not build a multi-purpose satellite?
Well, I think that's probably where his brain's going.
Do something that I mean, you got to have a couple, right? You still don't want to have one satellite designed to cover all communications because that would fuck us all up. But hey, which one is it? There, pew. Okay, USA's black now because we just shot down their shit. So you got to have some variables, right? But you would think they could condense what's up there and make it more manageable. That would be a fascinating field trip, right? Going to NASA to the satellite station and seeing how many satellites do you have in space. Let's ask.
That would be awesome.
How many satellites? Oh, fucking! It's like it's listening to us, Mike.
It is.
Who owns the most satellites in space? The United States has over 8,000. Russia has over 1,500. China has over 800, and the United Kingdom has over 700.
So you're talking like, what, 15,000 roughly?
Starlink itself has over 7,000 satellites, okay? So if the U.S. has 8,000 of them...
So does DirecTV and Dish. And
that didn't answer my question. How many satellites are in orbit now? I want to know how many now. There it is. Okay. Wow. I was way off my 10 million. According to UNOSA, UNOOSA.
Well, I knew it wasn't that many.
There are 8,261 satellites orbiting the Earth as of January 2022. Now, we know...
So Elon in 2023, it's 9115.
Okay, because I was going to say Elon Musk...
That was the last one I got.
Elon Musk has been launching shit every month.
Yeah, it says the number increased significantly, driven largely by the growth of mega constellations like SpaceX's Starlink.
Right, but the catch is, according to this 2022 report, or 2023 report, only 4,852 are active. So out of that 8,200...
Yeah, half of them are fucking dead.
Yeah. So let's fucking get them out of the sky, man.
I think that's easier said than done.
You got a rope?
Yeah, if you're talking to my dad in 1985, if you had some duct tape and some WD-40, we could make this happen.
There's 3,400 satellites in space that are not active. I think they just need to start falling from the sky. You know, I think you can shoot them down.
I'm going to leave you with this parting thought.
Okay, parting thought.
Because this is going to make every day of your life and our listeners' lives easier from this day forward. Because after I read this, I kind of breathed easier because it all made sense.
Gotcha.
Psychologist Stanley Milgram found that 80% of the population do not have the psychological or moral resources to defy an authority's order, no matter how illegitimate the order is. Over 80%.
Wow.
Therefore, only 20% of us have critical thinking capacity. This explains quite a lot.
Wow.
And his study went over 40 years.
Wow.
So this is a guy who saw people in and out as a clinical psychologist every day. And what he deducted is over 80% of the people that he saw do not have, they just don't have the capacity to defy a direct order from an authority figure for any reason ever. They just can't. Even if they were told to go chop their dick off. If they thought that, you know, that's what, and basically the point of the post, this was a friend of mine that posted it, and he put at the top, he said, this explains people's actions in COVID in droves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm dropping a video I made because since COVID, I snore. Didn't snore before COVID. Got COVID twice. Now I snore. I'm fucking extremely healthy. You know what I mean? You look at me and think, you don't snore. So we're trying these things out. So I tried this one thing out. Next show, I'll bring it on. I'll show you what it is. It fucking didn't work. And it's fucking insanely uncomfortable. I'm like, how does people fucking sleep with this shit? Right? And so we went to the sleep study. Of course, I wasn't presenting enough problems to actually go to a sleep study like the movie Dreamscape, you know, where you learn how to get into people's dreams and be a cerebral serial killer.
Oh, yeah. I have friends that did that.
Oh, that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So I had an app. It was an app that tied to my phone, and that was a sleep study. Like, yeah, and I wouldn't want a CPAP anyway, because again, I don't need that. I'm not dying 20 times in my sleep. I just snore.
I had a friend that did that too. Scared the shit out of me.
Nikki will move me, and she's like, sometimes so I asked her in the mornings now, do I snore? She's like, well, no. So 3 nights in a row I didn't snore, which is woohoo. I took gummies, so I'm thinking that's why. And last night, she said I didn't, but I gotten up because one of my nostrils was blocked for some reason. So I put one of those breathe strips on, and then I was fine. But so I'm going to document all this snoring shit that actually doesn't work that people buy. And I've researched it now. It's basically when you lay down, the back of your throat just kind of hits the breathing tube that you have, whatever airway, right? And it just,
I wake myself up like when I'm in my recliner doing that,
and it just vibrates. So, they got to come up with something to just fix that. I could see if I was extremely unhealthy and all that kind of shit, and but it blew my mind, like snoring. But really, it's just since COVID, man. That's what COVID gave me. Merry Christmas.
Carrie used to tell me it just depends on which way I sleep, and I don't remember which is which, but I think if I'm on my back, I snore, and if I'm on my side, I don't.
On the back, yeah. See, my problem now with my neck, I can't sleep on my right side anymore because
I can't sleep on my right side.
Right.
My shoulder's all fucked up there.
Right. So
and my neck.
Yeah. So I can either sleep on my back or my right side. If I sleep on my right side or my back, she reached out over and kind of tells me, and I keep telling her, if I'm snoring, just fucking wake me up.
I'm screwed because I'm stuck on my back now because they tell you're not supposed to sleep on your left side for some reason. It's not good for your organs.
Oh.
You know, you run across that shit that says to maintain a healthier lifestyle. That was one of them. Don't sleep on your left side.
Yeah, I just
don't
tell
remember
her.
Why.
When I tell her to wake me up, I'm telling her, wake me up. Let's expend some energy to get snoring out of the body, and then we'll go back to sleep.
That's right. Wake me up. Air quotes.
Follow me.
Yeah.
Wake me up. All right, boys and girls, this is Chris and Mike show. I don't even know what episode we're on. We're approaching 100, which will be fun.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We don't do that anymore.
We're approaching 100. Everybody have a great day. Remember, don't let the bad days win. Somebody loves you. Somebody cares. Somebody will miss you. So don't be that person. Reach out. Call me. Call Mike. Call Kyle. Hell,
and
welcome
Poland.
Yeah, welcome Poland.
Thanks for tuning in.
We should have started the show with a Polish joke to see if they stuck around. We love the polka. Somebody from Poland, come send us a message. We'll have you on the show. That would be fun.
If you somehow remember, I actually have a funny polka story. So yeah.
Okay, that would be fun to get. That would be fun to get somebody from another country on the show.
I've been pleading with people from Austria because they've been listening since the beginning. They're actually 4.8% of our listenership.
Wow. So
approaching 5%.
So Scott, that was supposed to be on the show last Friday with Joe and you and I, it's my fault because I'm in Arizona. We don't change our clocks. So he thought I meant 9:45 a.m. when I meant 10:45 a.m. And because it was...
Oh, I got you.
Right. So then he messaged me a couple of days later, and he's like, and I owned up to it. My fault, dude. We don't change our clocks.
Well, so mistakes.
So he's going to reach out when he gets to Canada, and then when he's in Canada, we'll be able to lock down a better time. But it'll still be cool to talk to him because he's spent several years incarcerated. He's spent about 20 years in the 12-step program, and again, wrote a book called
And now he's traveling around the world.
Right. Oh, he was in Thailand. Is that really traveling around the world?
Thailand?
It is. Yeah.
That's on the other side of the world.
It is. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see what he's doing in Thailand.
I'm not in Thailand, so I'd like to hear about Thailand.
I'm not in Thailand either.
I have never been to Canada either, eh?
I went to Canada on a boat.
I know. I saw you, and you had the shirt to prove it.
Canada, and then brought it to America, and like typical American clothing bought in Canada, it fucking shrunk to this weird shape and thing. I'm like, all right, that's going in the garbage.
But there's a photo to prove it.
Canadian cotton, man. Don't fucking buy it. It's like the mouse in the beer. Hoser. Strange Brew. Nikki hates that movie. I think it's one of the best movies ever.
I love it too.
Right? Bob and Doug McKenzie. Hey, step off, Hoser. I'm going to tell Dad. You took his beer, Hoser. All right.
We left you with the funny people.
We did. Until next time. See ya.
Peace.
building.